Time to round up a big story from the week. The city of Houston and its firefighters are back at square one after a near unanimous rejection of a proposed contract. 93% of the city's firefighters voted against a deal which would have given them a 4% pay raise in exchange for less time off. An HFD union representative says a 3-shift schedule would wipe out overtime and promotions within the department. Marinice Parker says she is willing to continue negotiating, but doesn't believe there's enough money in the budget to increase the city's offer. So are firefighters being greedy, or were they asked to give up too much? That's our topic this half hour. We want to hear from you on our Fox 26 Facebook page and Twitter. Just use the hashtag Fox26forlife. In the newsroom again, we have our legal analyst Chris Tritico, our news analyst Mustafa Tamiz, and public policy analyst Jackie Bally. Good morning again, guys.
Good morning.
What do you think? Is this greed, or are they being asked to give up too much?
The question I've had, and I've been asking ever since this started, is what guarantees them the right to have overtime? Overtime is something that, at least in my office, overtime is something that you use because you have to, not because I'm guaranteeing my employees that I'm going to pay them time and a half. And so I'm not really sure what the argument is by the firefighters, what legitimate argument the firefighters have for saying we're giving up too much, because it's not something they're guaranteed, Jackie Bally. I mean, when you hire somebody, you don't say you're going to get 40 hours a week, plus I'm going to pay you this time and a half stuff as much as I can.
Well, a lot of them want the time and a half or use the time and a half because they're only making $30,000 a year. So the time and a half sort of compensates for the lack of payment or the low salary that they make. And they
but
are
it's
putting,
not a right.
And they are putting, I didn't say it was a right, but a lot of them feel that that's how they will compensate and that's how they can provide for their families. And they are putting their lives at risk for all of us. With that said, I think the mayor came back with them with a good compromise. I mean, the budget, their dollars aren't, it's not like we have a lot of dollars floating around. She did say you get a 4% increase. She did say now you will have adequate staffing. And I think that you're seeing a lot of political maneuvering because the union and the mayor never have gotten along. And on her end, she's saying, look, I've given you the best deal, and so the spokesperson for the union, he said, look, I'm going to talk to my members and see what we can do. But that's what you're looking at. Because of the low salary, they've used that overtime to try to compensate and try to provide for their families.
I agree with Jackie. People get overtime, they like it, it's more money, but that's not a guaranteed right. What legitimate argument does the fire department have to say we have a right to this overtime? Well, and 4% is not enough.
Yeah, that's a mystery. And also, the union leadership, I believe, was surprised that the contract was rejected overwhelmingly. So there's a disconnect between the people that are sitting at the table negotiating and the rank and file. And that's an enormous issue, because if the leadership is negotiating on behalf of the membership and they think the contract's going to pass when they go vote and it loses such a large margin,
right,
that's something that has to be addressed.
Yeah, it seems like the officer's the only one who voted for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you look at the fact that the city budget just passed. So there's not a lot of money. This negotiation was revenue neutral, and the budget just passed. So if you go back to the negotiation table,
there's no more money to throw in.
So this could be a substantial problem.
Let me go to Sally. She's monitoring our social media.
Yeah, Marinice Parker tweeting out earlier this week her disappointment when the contract failed, saying, unfortunately, the firefighters union voted to reject the new contract with that 4% wage increase. That was on top of the 2% agreed to in March. And then heading over here to our Facebook page this morning, at the top of the page, Peggy's weighing in. She says that firefighters put their lives on the line every day. The city wastes money on personal agendas and useless programs instead of what's important. If the city can properly set its priorities, it will help problems like these.
You know, that's an interesting argument, and I think it's one that Jackie's talking about is can we give them a substantial enough raise to make it worth their while? And I have to go back to, and I think they should have a raise. Don't get me wrong. I'm not anti-firefighter. I'm very pro-firefighter. But at some point, everyone has to say, here's the pot of money we have. We're going to have to work within that.
There's not much more wiggle room there. Those dollars that they've been offered, that's pretty much the highest they can go. Now, one thing the union spokesperson did say is he's going to go back to the members and find out what their chief concern. The only concern we've heard about, besides the lack of flexibility with their scheduling, is that they are worried with the changing of 4 to 3 shifts. There may be some layoffs.
Right.
There may be some layoffs. And I think if they can assure the members, your job is secure. this is the best we can do with the budgetary dollars we have, I think you're going to see a compromise. You're going to see them reach to an agreement.
I don't understand the argument that the firefighters are making that there's no room for promotions under this new contract.
I think that that's going to have to get resolved. There are some miscommunications and there's some political spin. As you said, the mayor and firefighters have never gotten along, and some of this is that lack of trust that's happening. But the other thing that we have to think about as Houstonians, 2/3 of our budget is public safety. So if you're going to manage the budget, it's not by closing libraries and closing pools on the summer. It really is looking at that public safety piece, and firefighters are a big chunk of that.
All right. We're going to have to leave it right there. We do love firefighters here on the Roundup, even though we talk about not giving them raises, but we love our firefighters.
They're talking about not giving them raises.
6% raise.
We appreciate what they do. And we know we have a lot of them who are always up early watching us, so we love what the Houston Fire Department does for us. So thank you guys so much.